Hello, welcome back and welcome in. My name is Nikki Wheeler and I am officially back from the dead. If you're interested in gaming, go subscribe to my other channel and follow my Twitch to see my gaming live. Now, let's start this video. Today, I will be discussing Olivia Rodrigo once again. You can go watch the first video by clicking in the top right corner, but this time I will be discussing her sophomore album, Guts. It was released in early September and followed with 12 songs. I will try and touch on every song and then put my rating of the two albums on a best to worst scale at the end. She continued her track of being pop punk and pop rock with a little more of a matured version of her last album's lyrics. It obviously still had that teenage angst feel, but you can tell it is more angry and indignant. We start off the album with the song All American Bitch, which explores the inherent contradiction of social norms built into America, promoting mostly unattainable body image and ideals for women and the double standards. The feeling of misplacement comes to mind when reading and listening to this song because it always feels like you aren't enough and will never reach that expectation. Later, Olivia asserts herself as much more confident in how she is perfect the way she is and doesn't have to be the all-American bitch. My favorite part of this song was the bridge. Most of Olivia's bridges are the shining moments in the song for me. This one feels so much more humorous and like she's a bit sarcastic. I love the feel it has to connect us to the ending of the song so smoothly, and it follows a pattern. She knows how to write a supreme bridge for sure, and I still don't think any bridge can outdo the driver's license one though, but in time we will see. The second track was the second single, Bad Idea Right. I will admit right here and right now, I actually really hated this song on first listen. All of my friends can attest to that. I was very vocal about it. But now, I think it is probably one of the most streamed songs on the album for me. It isn't my favorite song, but it is definitely up there for sure. Obviously, some of the streams came from me trying to listen to it more and like it, but a majority of it is me genuinely listening to the song. I still don't like the choir effect on certain areas of the song, but overall it was very good. I loved how each time she asked the question, "It's a bad idea, right?" In the second half, it got more and more extreme and fearful, then dropped into the monotone, "Fuck it, it's fine," then up again into a barrage of lyrics trying to prove why it's fine, knowing good and well why it is not. It's so well delivered and structured, I just can't be mad at it. It shows a range of emotion without trying that hard, and I can also see it as a side-by-side to Wet Leg, as she has similar ideals in the chorus to the band with the pop-punk sing-along. We then move into the third song, the absolute smash hit, Vampire. It acted as the first single and went over extremely well, and everyone seemed to love it, myself included, and it is already at 500 million streams on Spotify. The song is obviously about a guy who is a liar and uses her and sucks the life out of her like a vampire. If you didn't like this song, that's okay, but you must admit the sheer talent Olivia shows in this with breath control, range, and delivery. The emotion behind this song is apparent and doesn't slow down throughout. The topic of toxic romantic dynamics is a tough one that no one truly gets unless you have been in one, and I want to say that through her words and delivery with tearful vengeance, I do understand it a bit better. Songs like these remind me of Pink, just a tad, because she knows her emotional range and showcases it so well. The song was phenomenal and showed no bounds to her capabilities as a singer and songwriter. The fourth song was titled Lacey. When the track list was announced, I was most intrigued by this song because it gave me the idea of Olivia looking through lace and giving that blurry, half-seen image of whatever she would be singing about. And I was half right. We see Olivia and her track record of comparing herself to women and being intimidated, succumbing to these comparisons to the extremes of crippling romantic obsessions. The song was fruitful in many ways, but one way it strived was that it started with the verse going straight into it, which gave us plenty of story with this Lacey character and Olivia's envy and possible feelings towards this character. And no, I am not saying she is gay. It is just a vibe of the song. On top of delivery of lyrics, it kind of does segue into that thought. Anyways, as much as this story is a hit, the song itself didn't land too well compared to the rest of the album. I actually didn't like the wispy nature of it, even though, yes, it is titled Lacey, it just didn't feel right. especially right after Vampire. It could have gone to the second half. I feel like this first half would have been more pumped and full of envy and anger, than the other half is the sad envy like this song was. Moving on though, we have the fifth track, Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl. Now, for some reason, this song gained a lot of heat and it was because of the "every guy I like is gay" line. Several people were mad that she used it in a bad connotation, even though it was not. I think they see it as a straight girl using the word gay and immediately going to the homophobic remarks, which is just baffling. This line, to me, I think, was used to show that Olivia is quite blind when it comes to the guys she likes and how she doesn't see the obvious sign that the guys she's into doesn't like her that way, and that her social cues are a bit off from being homeschooled most of her childhood. This part of the song was actually probably one of my favorite parts due to the delivery, and then transitioning to the chorus, which is also one of my favorite parts lyrically. This song as a whole is kind of a good connection to me. Even though I wasn't homeschooled, it was because of the social awareness as a topic. Plus, the music itself was so good. If I had just an instrumental version of the song, I would be rocking with it just as hard with lyrics. The social suicide line always gets me every time I listen to it just because it rings true. Next is the song Making the Bed, which is the 6th song on the album. It is extremely melancholic, I think much more than some of Sour, and it also seems to be a bit self-deprecating as she reflects on the dwindling satisfaction with her rise to fame and her life, but she's the only one to blame. One thing I love about this track is the shifting from each section of the song. It isn't harsh, but it still acknowledges the hardships of fame and not to talk yourself down, to be grateful because others would be lucky to have it. The pacing is also really amazing. It has so much room to breathe and allows for processing time within the song, and even then it made me pause the next song and sit on it. It was phenomenally written, and I can't imagine how hard it was to write because of the mindset that is set in the song. Logical is the next song, and it was poignant to say the least. Exploring love and the irrational nature of it, it talks about the tumultuous relationship spoiled by manipulation and deceit. It is packed full with vulnerability and decision making. Going into this lyrically, it is fully fledged and age appropriate because it is logical. It makes sense to use those bigger words and then use metaphors like 2 + 2 = 5 for that childlike mind. Inner turmoil makes most people have blurred vision on decision making and making rational and logical decisions that can be difficult in the moment, so I think this song definitely shows that well, and I relate to it heavily. Some experiences are different and the interpretation can be varied, but I love the way that she ended the song blissfully and soft compared to being a little more loud like she was at the beginning. Then we go right into the heavy hitting beats with Get Him Back, the 8th track, which is a contradiction in and of itself as Olivia toys with herself throughout admitting she wants to grab this guy's attention. I thought it was like a revenge song, basically saying that she wants to win him back, then play with his feelings, making him love and hate her all at once. The song is like a stereotypical teenage early 2000s song musically, and it honestly made me so happy with the talk singing for the verses and then going upbeat with big hits on the guitars and chorus. Also, not to mention, the lyrics are kind of sinister in the way it's written because it's like she is truly believing this plan would work, which in reality, knowing people in today's world, it might. It has that sticky feeling if you can understand what that even means. That's like the best way I can put it. Track 9 is titled Love is Embarrassing. It candidly explores the ups and downs of emotion throughout the self-discovery during a teenage relationship, that being really fucking awkward and stressful because of balance. Doing all of these things to salvage or stay true to the relationship and looking back is extremely embarrassing. It makes me think of those moments at 3 a.m. of overthinking and how one embarrassing moment turns into a snowball effect of everything embarrassing you have ever done throughout life, which is an inevitable thing for most people. I tend to do this almost on a nightly basis now, so this song was an instant connection. I also love how the beat works with the lyrics instead of the lyrics working with the music. It makes it so much easier to listen to. Now, for the best song, The Grudge, this song being so late in the album made me extremely sad, but I know it makes sense composition-wise. Like I said earlier, I think the second half should be the sappy and sad ones, and this one is a part of that. It's conflicting between being tough and being soft, and how a relationship is easily manipulated even without trying. Forgiveness is a huge part of this song as well, and it takes an act of congress to forgive so easily, and it shows. Musically, it does remind me of Driver's License, but it is 10 times better. I don't know if it's the music itself that is reminiscent of the song, but how the lyrics and music combine to make the song is what reminded me of it. I know it also hasn't been out long, but if you do listen to the album, I highly recommend this song because it needs more streams. I can compare the song itself to Benson Boone's In the Stars or My Tears Ricochet by Taylor Swift. So if you like either of those artists, the song is definitely for you. Song 11 is Pretty Isn't Pretty. With a title like that, I expected a much more in-your-face record talking about beauty standards, but it is more mellow and allowed room for thoughts and how you as a listener may be contributing to these standards. Social media has played a huge role in these discussing standards, and it reminds me of Scars to You Beautiful by Alessia Cara, who I also did cover. This song is more pop while Alessia's is R&B, but I make the connection just based on the lyrics. Alessia says she craves attention, she praises an image, which is like the line, I could change up my body and change up my face, I could try every lipstick in every shade. The message is changing yourself for a certain image for attention. I like this message of both songs being very similar, almost exactly the same, but Olivia is more along the lines of no matter how hard she tries, it isn't good enough, while Alessia's is more about loving yourself first and foremost. Both songs are very good, but I like the music more on Olivia's because I do tend to like more pop-oriented songs more, but if you are a fan of empowering R&B, Olivia is definitely a good option. Now, for the final song, Teenage Dream, Olivia talks more about growing up under the spotlight because she was a Disney kid from the beginning, and the immense pressure they are under. After the immediate success of Sour, that pressure grew times 100, and it shows. She's trying to show us that she is mature, but she can still make mistakes and is just like us, wanting that teenage dream of being picture perfect with a significant other, a group of friends, and popular. The world is cruel and ruins a lot of stuff for us, even when good comes our way, and this song is vocal about that. I like the music in it, but not as much as the last two tracks. This song was also not the only time Olivia talked about having a teenage dream. She mentioned it in Brutal on Sour, but that song was definitely more angsty, while this one is more heartfelt, and it drove us through her current mindset and emotions, offering an update on how she is feeling about all of these situations 2 years after. It was a nice way to end the record for sure, but I think if there was one more song, it could have been even better. And there were. Actually, there were 4 bonus songs, but they were only on vinyl. Each letter of the title to the album got a different color vinyl and 1 bonus song, but I will only be talking about my personal favorite just because it's my favorite. This one was on the red vinyl representing the G. It is titled Obsessed. It showcases the power of jealousy and it can degrade self-esteem in a relationship. Again, the bridge on this one stood out so much. She's asking questions, changing the subject fast, and easily works through these emotions of curiosity and anger. I don't think people realize how much punk has died over the years, even though there are still some groups and individuals that make it, like Fall Out Boy, All Time Low, and Paramore, but the genre as a whole has grown so much smaller in popularity, and I think Olivia has been reviving it with her pop spins, allowing for more people to come out with content inspired by her. My top 5 for Guts is The Grudge, Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl, Pretty Isn't Pretty, Logical, and Vampire. So now I'm actually going to rank the albums on a best to worst scale. And this was really difficult just because I do love both albums so much and how Olivia has shown her growth in just these 2 years. And number 1, I still have Sour, and number 2 is Guts. I think this album beat the sophomore slump traditions, and it seems like a lot of artists are doing that in recent years, and I'm kind of glad that is fading, but here are my thoughts on Olivia's case in particular. No album she would have released after Sour would have done better, and that's just a fact. No matter what people might have thought, Sour was such a success that it would be damn near impossible to beat the records that it set, and the bar was extremely high. While yes, it is definitely possible, it wouldn't happen immediately after. I can only think of Adele when this type of thing has happened. She released 21 and had some of the best record-setting days of her life during that era, and every album after that hasn't had nearly the amount of success as it had. And she has acknowledged that, and it probably would never happen just because of the sheer amount of praise it got. It's the same here as well. In no way is this album a flop, but I just knew it would not compare with Sour numbers-wise. The rise Olivia Rodrigo experienced after Sour would have been thrilling and challenging for any artist, but navigating the cusp of adolescence and adulthood at the same time gave her a bounty of material for her second album. Guts reveals that she didn't crumble under expectations. Instead, she took notes. This allowed for another hit album that will be loved for years to come, just like Sour. For now, I will end this video here. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe for more content like this. Comment down below for what I should cover next. And until next time, bye guys.